up, guys? I'm Matthew.
Christian here. What's going on, fellas?
And welcome back to Racing Through Life. It's a podcast hosted by OpenRace and ourselves. OpenRace is a real-time virtual running app looking to connect and motivate runners as well as help event organizers increase revenue, reach a larger audience, and provide a more interactive virtual race for runners during these COVID times.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Matt. This is Racing Through Life. This is our podcast, help brand ourselves. And we're trying to take a deep dive into the running community. We felt that no one else was doing that on podcasts, especially the running industry gets left behind compared to so many of the other sports within, all over the world and especially North America. And we like to bring on different people that work with, different events, runners, competitive runners, Olympians. And today we got a great guest.
Yeah, we got Vanessa Fraser. She's a was a D1 athlete at Stanford. She's now with Bowerman Track and Field Club. Phenomenal club there. Tons of Olympians coming out of there. She's getting ready actually for her 2021 Olympic trials. Actually recovering as well from an injury.
We talk more about that in the podcast.
Lots in the podcast. Great story from her.
Awesome.
Really excited to dive in.
Yeah, let's get it up for Vanessa. Go.
Hi.
What's going on?
Vanessa, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Where you calling from?
I'm in Portland, Oregon right now.
Awesome. Is that for your track club?
Yeah, that's where we're based. We just started fall training like about a week ago up here.
Awesome. And how's that been so far?
So far, so good. It's so nice to be back with like a team and a group of people because I was like completely solo since May at my parents' house in California. So it's like so nice to be with people again.
Were you just training by yourself since May then, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I had surgery in May, and so I was like rehabbing during that time. And then I kind of started workouts about a month ago. So I was doing that all solo.
Wow. We'll get into the injury and stuff a little bit later. We don't want to hit that right off the bat, but how have you been so far? Like, I guess through like COVID, and why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, I really took advantage of the COVID situation by getting surgery. Like, that's the reason why I did the surgery. I always knew that one day I was gonna need surgery, but since it was an Olympic year, I was obviously not planning to do that this year. I was planning to just like patch things up through the Olympic year and try to be ready to go at the Olympic trials and figure out surgery, maybe even not until next year. And then as soon as COVID happened, then my focus was like, I gotta fix this now because it's such a window of opportunity where there's not really that important of races going on this summer. So I might as well try to fix it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like a pretty good distraction during COVID, I guess, because I was like just focused on figuring out like when and where I could get my surgery done, what exactly I was gonna do, and then I was like kind of locked down recovering because I couldn't really move that well in 2 boots. So yeah, I guess it was I made the best of the situation, and then now it's nice that our team's able to train together and stuff, so it kind of feels like semi-normal life, I guess. Yeah. So I mean, obviously there's still things that we can't do, but it's
still
just
not
nice
the same for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with the injury, it was just an ongoing like thing then, and you could have gotten it treated or couldn't have, and then you decided to?
Yeah, I was in pain for almost 3 years, and it had gotten progressively worse probably over the last year and a half or so. It's just Haglund's deformities, which are bone spurs on your heel bones that really dig into the Achilles tendon and cause micro tearing and just a ton of edema. Like my bones were filled with edema, just basically like stress reactions in your bones because the bone kept growing in response to all the edema. So it's like a really vicious cycle where like the bone keeps growing, but that ends up causing more swelling and pain, but then it grows in response to that. So it's like kind of a messed up cycle, and it's extremely painful. And I was getting all different types of short-term remedies to get through it, like different injections and different anti-inflammatories and shockwave therapies and physical therapy and like pretty much everything in the books to just like try to get through training. And then I ran a really good 5K PR in February and ended up coming out of that with like a 30% tear in my left Achilles, and everything was just like really, really hurting as soon as COVID hit. And I was just like, now's the time to get surgery.
Okay. So that kind of leads to like my question was, if COVID didn't hit, how long do you think you could have kept going with these short-term treatments until you're like, I can't do this anymore?
I would have said, like, if you'd asked me that, at the very beginning. Yeah. If you'd asked me that in January, I would have said probably another year and a half. But if you asked me that, in March, I would have said, I would have tried to get through August. Like, hopefully best case scenario, try to make the Olympic team, or, at least have a really good summer racing season. And then I probably would have tried to get it done in August, because it's not sustainable to be in that much pain. It was seriously so miserable. Even just like the 2 months leading up to surgery, trying to get through each day was like, I hated it.
Wow, that's crazy. So that started in while you were at Stanford, or did it happen prior to? And was there like an injury that caused it, or just like slowly built up over time?
Yeah, it slowly built up over time. It started on my right foot. So my right one started bugging me about 6 months before my left one started. And it didn't start out as intense, obviously. It was just like, oh, I noticed that my heel just kind of feels sore all the time when I'm running. And I got an MRI pretty early on, and it showed the initial kind of bone spur starting to grow. But yeah, then over the next 3 years, that continued to get bigger. And there was more and more fraying that started to happen in the tendon. So at first it was like annoying, but super manageable. And then it got to the point where it was like debilitating pain.
Wow. How did how did you continue getting better still?
Yeah.
Wow, this was getting worse.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I don't know. It's just like extreme willpower, I think. And at some point you do start to get used to the pain in a messed up way, because, it's like, I didn't even remember what it felt like to run normally without pain. So it's just like, that was my new norm. And, I did get these kind of like miracle injections in January. They did it's a saline solution, that kind of gets shot in between your tendon and bone and creates a lot of space, and so just everything's able to glide and move a lot easier, and I wasn't getting so like stuck up on the bone spur. I don't really know how it works, but it was like this miracle injection that gave me so much relief for about 6 weeks. And like, I literally had forgotten how much I enjoyed running. And the first time I ran after that injection, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. This is so fun. I feel so amazing. I truly hadn't even remembered what it felt like to run like that. And so that was a really nice little break for like 5 or 6 weeks. And then it came back like almost even worse. So I knew that that wasn't going to be a sustainable situation. But
at any point when you started feeling like you were running, I guess not normally, but without pain, like when you were running with all the pain and trying to just endure everything, was that taking away any of like the satisfaction of running? Or did you feel like you were running at certain points just like cause? Do you know what I mean? Like more so it was more of a job than actually like you love it? Or like how did that work?
Yeah, I think it definitely was just kind of more of like, this is my job and this is what I want to be doing, and I have goals, and in order to reach my goals, I need to be doing this training every day. So it wasn't really like, I didn't ever think of it as an option, and I just kind of tried to put it in the back of my mind and, like I said, accept it as the new norm. But yeah, I think once I had that brief window of relief, that made me realize like, oh my gosh, I'm not really like doing this for full enjoyment. I'm really doing this just because I feel like I have to get through each day.
Wow. And so kind of take it a little back then. When did when did you start, I guess, noticing, I'm a good runner? Was it like elementary school, high school? When did you realize, or when did you get into running essentially?
I got into running in elementary school. I ran my first 5K in 3rd grade.
Nice.
And
wow.
But I was
far.
I know, it's like a marathon for a 3rd grader.
That's really far.
Miles. Yeah.
Like 4th grade, I ran like a 2K.
1K? 1.5 miles?
Maybe 1.8 or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't running that fast, but I knew I still finished. I knew that I had an affinity for running then, but I wasn't the fastest. There was a girl that was significantly faster than me all through elementary school, and then I did middle school cross country, and there was another girl on my team in middle school who always beat me. So I wasn't a standout at a young age, but having somebody that was always beating me really, really drove me. I was that was my main focus. I would talk to my coach every day, how am I going to beat Madison in the next race? What do I need to do? And
freaking Madison.
Yeah, I know. But then in high school, I think it just goes to show you that, you develop at different rates, and how good you are in 6th grade doesn't mean how good you're going to be in high school, or even how good you are in high school doesn't mean how good you're going to be in college, obviously. But I think I started to see some of the natural talent come out freshman year of high school, and thought, oh, wow, yeah, if I really work at this, I could make running in college, specifically at Stanford, which was my goal. I could make that possibly a reality.
Wow. So you had that goal from a young age. So you grew up in California then. Did you grow up near Stanford?
Yeah, just about 45 minutes away. And I grew up going to sporting events there. And so it was kind of always a dream to go there. I recently had to go through some old yearbooks because we were really close to fires, my parents' house, and we thought we were going to have to evacuate. So we basically packed up our, most precious belongings. I was like, well, of course I have to save some old yearbooks. And so then I started going through them, and I have a bunch of signatures in my 5th grade yearbook of kids saying go Stanford. I hope you go to Stanford one day. I was obsessed, back at a really young age.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you had it shows, I guess, manifestation. Do you believe in manifestation?
Yeah. I kind of do. Yeah. I kind of do.
Started talking about it at such a young age, and then
at 11. At 11 years old, I'm going to go to Stanford for cross country.
Wow. Yeah. Speak it into existence.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So during high school, did you win nationals or state? I don't know exactly how it works in the US, but
I won 2 state cross country titles, but they break it into 5 different divisions in California. And so our school was in the 2nd to smallest school division. So I wasn't necessarily racing the best schools in the state, but to me at the time, that was such a big deal, such a big accomplishment. But I was not kind of a national caliber runner whatsoever. I went to 1 national meet, and I think I was maybe 7th or 8th. I guess that's still good,
that's in the nation.
But not all the best runners in the nation went to that particular national meet, because I feel in high school there's so many different national meets that happen, and it's not everybody's going to the same exact one.
How does one get invited? I was never, not even close to caliber. So how does one get invited to nationals? Do you have to I guess do you have to win a state and then you go to nationals? Is that how that works?
Well, for track, which is the one that I went to, I don't actually really know. I think I had to submit a seed time, and if your time was fast enough, you got accepted. But for cross country, I never ran in a national cross country meet, because the way they did it out of California is, for at least Nike Cross Nationals, it was just I don't remember the number, like maybe the top 5 fastest times on the course. And so even though I won my division in state, I wasn't even in the top 5 fastest times on the course. And then for Foot Locker Nationals, you go to a qualifying meet. And I did that qualifying one year, and I did so terribly that I was like, I'm never going back there. It was such a terrible experience. So, I mean, I was definitely not a high school standout by any means, but I did have obviously solid enough success to make it to Stanford, but I didn't go into college on a scholarship. I, wasn't a 5-star recruit, so to speak.
Okay, so how did you how did you get into Stanford, I guess, and how did you build your way up through Stanford?
Well, probably really good grades.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew that I was gonna have to take school really seriously in high school. That's important to get into Stanford, but I also was extremely proactive about making myself known and making it known that that's where I wanted to run. So I reached out to the coach at the beginning of my junior year of high school, and I don't know, in some ways I feel like I was like begging on my hands and knees to like get in, I was like, I really want to come, like I'll do whatever it takes, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it takes sometimes. And like people, like you could be the best like runner, and if you don't put yourself out there, like some people won't know who you even are. Like there's so many people out there. So you got to put yourself in front of those eyes, which is great, which is like for a lot of young athletes and young runners, like myself, I played like pretty high level hockey, and to get to like that next level of like junior A, or like OHL, like you gotta reach out to these coaches. Like sometimes they'll reach out to you, but like if you don't reach out to them, they're not gonna come out of their way when there's like thousands of athletes across the country.
Yeah, for sure. You have to advocate for yourself. And I think it goes, I mean, I've been kind of giving advice to a few high school runners recently, especially in this climate. Recruiting is so hard. It's hard to make yourself stand out because a lot of kids aren't able to race right now. And I was like, it goes such a long way when you show a coach how passionate you are and how good you want to be, and just like them being able to see that drive in a young athlete is sometimes more important than just times on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
Yeah,
I
because
agree
that coach probably knows that they can help you increase that time, and it just takes hard work to get there. So like if you're a phenomenal natural athlete, but you don't want to put in the work to get better, like those people that are putting in the work, that might not be as good as a natural athlete, are gonna do better. And that's it sounds like that's your case as well, where like you just put in the work, you gone in front of that Stanford coach, and then throughout your years there, you just continue to prove yourself, which is really inspiring for me and probably everyone listening to this, and all athletes in general. I guess at Stanford, did you hit your PR, the 14:48 5K at Stanford?
No, that was this past February. So I was about almost 2 years removed from Stanford because I left Stanford in 2018.
Okay.
But yeah, I had kind of like almost every year at Stanford, I had a breakthrough in the 5K. It started my sophomore year. I broke 16 minutes for the first time in the 5K. And that was really my first glimpse of seeing what was possible after really, putting in the work and committing to the process, because I'd been in college for a year and a half at that point, and that was my first real big breakthrough. And breaking 16 minutes is still, kind of a big deal, especially, as a younger collegiate runner.
Yeah.
And so I thought, wow, if I was able to do that after a year and a half of hard work in this program, what could be possible for the next 3 years, knowing that I was going to stay for 5 years. And each year I kind of chopped off on average around 15 seconds each year off of my 5K PR. And so, by the time I left Stanford, the summer after I had graduated, I ran 15:09. And that was, still under my college coach's coaching, but it was as I was transitioning to pro. So that was kind of the best I ran collegiately, which I never would have imagined ever running that fast, period, let alone like at the end of college. So it was pretty crazy just to see, you know, by focusing on those little improvements year over year, what that ended up adding up to.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Good for you. During the Stanford, your time at Stanford, the injury, did it prevent you from participating in anything at Stanford?
No, I was super fortunate that I never had any injuries besides the Achilles thing.
Okay.
I never had anything else. And the Achilles thing came on in January of 2017 during my 4th year there. And it wasn't quite bad enough to, I mean, I never took a day off for it. It was just this low level annoyance. And like after racing in spikes the next day, I'd be like limping around, but then it would kind of go away enough to keep training.
Wow. What's the big difference between, so you do indoor 5K, right? Do you do outdoor as well? Or like, I guess what's the difference between like a 5K indoor, like cross country or outdoor versus like a 5K indoor with track?
Yeah, I do. Actually, our primary focus in the professional world is on outdoor track. And we kind of view indoor track as like an exhibition season to get ready for outdoor track. And I mean, the main difference is that an indoor track is 200 meters around versus the outdoor track is 400 meters around. So you're running a lot tighter turns. And so on the one hand, you could argue that it's like a little bit slower indoor because you have to turn more, and obviously like you can't run quite as fast as when you're turning. But on the other hand, you don't have any factors like wind or, you know, adverse weather conditions. So I feel like it kind of like evens out. And then cross country, we don't really do professionally, which I'm so glad because I don't really like cross country that much.
Is that longer than 5K usually?
In college, women would run 6K cross country. And I mean, it's just the grass is slow. Like it's just tough running on grass, hilly, just like it's not as smooth as the track.
Yeah, totally. Did you go to any like cool places throughout your time just like running or at Stanford? Like travel to any of really cool places that you would go back to?
In college, not so much. I don't want to like hate on the middle of the country, but it did seem like most of the time you're going to some like pretty obscure places in the middle of the country, which I like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed that experience. And I think it's cool that I got to go to places that I wouldn't normally find myself going to, you know, if I wasn't competing. So, but would I go back to visit Terre Haute, Indiana? Like, no, I have no interest in going back there. But I mean, I also am like, really grateful for the experience of the places we did get to go. And I mean, I always enjoy seeing other college towns like Wisconsin and Texas A&M and Alabama. And I mean, it's fun, but definitely not places I would pick to go for vacation. But professionally, I've really enjoyed the places I've got to go in Europe. That's probably my favorite part of the entire job, is just getting to travel and race in Europe, because racing is so much more fun in Europe. There's so much more of a fan base. People actually think that track and distance running specifically is cool and exciting, and there's way more people there, and just a really fun energy. And my favorite place that I raced last summer was Berlin. We raced in the 1936 Olympic Stadium, just like being surrounded by the history that happened there, and just a cool city, I think, in general. So now we get to go to really awesome places.
So would you say Berlin was your favorite out of everywhere you traveled outside of North America?
I would say it's up there in terms of a place I traveled for racing. Yes.
Okay. Top 3. If you can think of a top 3 right now.
Berlin, and then Samoritz, Switzerland, which is just a training location. We don't race there, but by far the most beautiful, beautiful place I raced. And then, well, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it was just such a unique experience. We went to Minsk, Belarus.
Okay.
And, I mean, yeah, it's not, again, that's not like a vacation destination, but it was very memorable experience getting to travel and race there.
That's awesome. Do you travel like outside of running? Do you travel at all? Or like, where's the coolest place you've been to?
Yeah, like just vacationing.
When we have, we usually get like 6 weeks at the end of the season to kind of do whatever we want or go wherever we want. So not a ton of time. And obviously this year I didn't really get to travel, but last year my teammate and I went to Barcelona after the season, and that was probably my favorite place that I've been. So again, in Europe. And then I always have enjoyed going to Hawaii. So that's, more of a chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you really want to go to
Hawaii. I really want to, like, if I had to go to one place, like before I die and I can only travel one place, I'd be Hawaii, just because it looks just so beautiful. And like, you just spiritually, I feel like you just find yourself. Yeah. Is it like, am I right on that?
Totally. Yeah.
What's like great about it? Like, what's so beautiful about Hawaii?
It's just a completely different vibe than anywhere else you can get. And just the island energy is very different. It's just so laid back, and you obviously are secluded in this little bubble on the ocean, and it's like you really feel detached from everywhere else in the world, and there's just no drama out there.
yeah, I'd like Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii would be nice. That'd be good.
We're up in Toronto, Canada, so the winter's coming here, and we can't travel at all. So
yeah, it's gonna be cold too. I'm like disappearing on the screen.
Just thinking of Hawaii is good enough for us.
Just imagine it every night.
What do you? So I know you don't have much time off, but I guess in your breaks here and there, what do you like to do outside of running?
Yeah.
Like, what are your hobbies? Do you have any favorite shows or anything you do for fun?
Well, on my downtime, I feel like I just like doing stuff that I don't get to do as much during the season. So even, it sounds so basic, but like getting to go on a hike somewhere, because I like don't even hike, when I'm training, because it's too much energy. I mean, traveling obviously when you can, and then just like going out with friends. I mean, I still kind of do that a little bit during training, but just not having any inhibitions about my schedule, like during off season. It's just nice to do whatever I feel like doing.
Yeah. I feel like that's where a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Like they just want to just chill.
Yeah,
exactly.
When they're not, because you guys are working so hard, and it's just like when you're not working, it's like I just want to chill,
relax for like a few weeks, just like let me do nothing and like do what I want to do.
Yeah, it's so simple, but it goes a long way in terms of just mental recovery.
I was just about to comment on that. Like mentally, that's got to be draining for any like Olympic or like top tier competitive athlete. Like you're doing intense training from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Like it's nonstop, even especially if you're traveling, then that just adds another whole element. So I can only feel like mentally, like at what point, I guess, in your season is it like, do you feel the drain? Like, do you ever feel like I need a break? Have you ever felt that? Or are you just like, you're always at like a high of excitement that you're like, oh, this is great?
No, I definitely feel like I get burnt out sometimes and feel like I need a break. And I mean, for example, even right now, it's kind of an interesting situation because I'm not coming off of a normal off season that I would have in September, because I was off all of basically June and July as I was coming back from surgery.
Yeah.
But when you're coming back from an injury or surgery, even if you're not able to run or train like normal, I'm still, mentally exerting myself all day, every day with all the physical therapy and the cross training. So you're not actually getting a mental break. And by the time you've like rehabbed enough to be fully training again, which is where I'm at now, it's like, well, I haven't been fully training for a while, but I've been like mentally grinding, for the past few months. So like, I feel like I kind of hit a point of feeling really drained once I got back from surgery, even though it's like, I haven't even been, doing track workouts for that long, but I kind of feel exhausted. So I think I kind of went through that a little bit, but then at the same time, I'm feeling, rejuvenated by being back with my teammates. And it's just the kind of thing that passes after feeling drained for a little bit. And then I usually also go through that when we do our altitude training camps. We'll do like 6 weeks every winter in January and February, and then usually late spring. And when you're training at altitude, it's just way more exhausting. And so usually hit a point up there as well, because you're also pretty isolated and just like, it's a grind. But again, I usually come out of it, as soon as I have like a race or another goal to look forward to, like feel ready to go again.
Yeah. I can imagine, I guess for you, it's a little different because you're going through like the recovery right now. But I can imagine for like other athletes that like COVID has affected the race schedule and events, and they have really like nothing to look forward to, how like mentally exhausting that is to train not knowing when the next event is going to be. So have you like, I guess, talked to any friends in that situation maybe that have been kind of stuck, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. And my teammates did end up getting to race this summer, which was great. They did like intra-squad races, so it was just people on our team. So it was really contained, local. They got COVID tested before and stuff. So it was nice to see that they were able to come up with racing situations, even if it wasn't like the normal, traveling somewhere or like international level competition. They're still able to get the stimulus of like competing. But for a while there was a lot of uncertainty about it. And I mean, a lot of my teammates went through periods of just, kind of feeling unmotivated. It's super tough to be grinding every day and not knowing exactly what it's for. And, we always were saying, because we talked to a lot of college teams and high school teams throughout it, like random Zoom calls, and we had a summer camp for high school kids, and all of the conversations were the same. It's like, you guys aren't able to race right now, but the work that you put in now is going to pay off in a year when you are able to race. But it's so hard to have that long-term vision and such delayed gratification if the timeline is like, close to a year long. It's like really hard to be like, I'm working toward my goal that I have for next summer. But it's true, especially in running, everything that you do really, really adds up, and it usually pays off. Like what I'm doing today is for next year, takes a while for it to pay off. So trying to have that mindset through it, but it's tough.
And that's also a good point. I feel like a lot of people, when quarantine like first kind of hit, it was more so like everyone looks at things like the negative way. I guess like as humans, everyone wants to look at things always for some reason, like kind of negatively. But like, if you think about it, like a pandemic's like a great time to like focus on like anything yourself. And for an athlete, like there's no competitions right now. Just practice your craft. Same thing for like an artist, make music. Like, it's like, as weird as it sounds, it's like, it's time for you to like be better when you're coming out of it. Like imagine that first event, you're putting up PR numbers, you know what I mean? But it is hard because it's so like, there's an unknown date. Like no one knows when or like when it's coming back. So it's hard for an athlete to have that mindset, especially runners, because that's like their motivation is literally a run. And like, I want to place this, I want to get this time in a run. And it is hard, but I feel like it's also like a really good challenge for younger athletes.
Yeah. And I think it's where kind of some of the, I call them like the 3 Ps, like the most important things in distance running is like, and in most sports in general, is like being process oriented, having patience, and having perspective, and being able to like put that full long-term vision in mind, and having that be your driving force every day rather than short-term gratification.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think like I guess the biggest motivation might be just trying to put in your head that if you do this work and someone else during this pandemic isn't doing the work,
you're getting better,
then you're just getting better than everyone else. So like that's kind of the mindset I've tried to have.
Same.
I know you have too.
That's
you clearly have as well through your whole like recovery process and like getting into that surgery right away when you kind of knew that this pandemic was coming. I don't think anyone knew it would last this long, or how long it continues to last. But I guess we'll see. Where do you I see yourself in the next like 4 or 5 years? Say this pandemic ends like early next year.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, I think right now I am pretty focused on this upcoming summer, because word on the street is that, you know, even if the pandemic is still, you know, ongoing this summer, that they're going to make the Olympics happen.
Okay.
So it might be a situation where there are no fans. But regardless, they're going to get the athletes to the Olympics. So, I mean, my focus is the Olympic trials. It's going to be really hard to make it to the Olympics. And my goal is to just have my absolute best race at the Olympic trials and put myself in the best position to make the team. And then, you know, whatever happens is, you know, what other people do is out of my control. So I'm kind of trying to think of it that way. But obviously it'd be a dream to make the team and to compete at the Olympics. So it's like, I'm trying not to think too far ahead past that, but I do think that I probably will be, you know, running competitively for the next 4 or 5 years. You know, hopefully, you know, make it through another Olympic cycle. They say that distance runners don't really hit their peak till later 20s. Wow. So I'll be like turning 29 at the time of the 2024 Olympics. So I think, you know, if I'm doing this because I want to see how good I can be, and I want to reach my potential. And so if my potential lies in my later 20s, and, you know, some people don't even run their fastest till they're in their 30s, which is like, that's too far ahead for me to think about and gives me anxiety. But like, I think I'm okay thinking about the next 4 years as like, you know, kind of focusing on the next 2 Olympics, seeing if I can make those teams. And whether I do or don't, like, at least I went all in is kind of how I see it.
Yeah. Oh, you disappeared.
I keep disappearing. I don't know why that's happening right now.
Because we have a virtual background.
No, I get it, but this hasn't happened before. Okay, I'm sorry.
The background is pretty cool. It's pretty legit.
The first podcast we had, apparently it was backwards.
Yeah.
The writing. So it looks backwards for us right now, but it looks good for you, right?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. So it looked good for us the first time, but apparently
it was reversed.
The whole first podcast we did. But yeah, anyways, I'm rooting for you for the Olympic trials. How does that work? Like, how do you get
invited? I don't know. Is it invitational?
Like, how do you make the team? Yeah. Is it just like the fastest time makes a team, or the other factors go into it?
So the top 3 finishers in each event at the Olympic trials make the team, as long as you have the Olympic time standard. So there's a time standard that you need to have hit, you know, either the year leading up to the Olympic trials or in the Olympic trials event themselves.
Yeah.
So you have to have at least hit a certain time standard and be top 3. Now, sometimes there's a case where, say, on the day, the 3rd place finisher beats out somebody who has run faster previously, and the 3rd place finisher hasn't run the Olympic standard time ever because the race just like didn't go that fast that day. That 3rd place finisher wouldn't be able to go to the Olympics because they don't have the time standard. So then they'll take the next person on the list who's run the time standard. So there have been cases before where the 4th place finisher ends up making the team because they have the standard, and the 3rd place finisher doesn't have the standard. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. What's the standard?
So for the 5K, the standard's 15:10.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so I think right now I could count, but I'm not going to like do an official count. Maybe like 10 American women have run the 5K standard. But they'll fill the field to, I think 24 people. So like not everybody in the race at the trials has run the Olympic time standard, but there's like another qualifying standard to make the trials that's like not quite as fast, so that they have, you know, a full race. So yeah, the 10K standard, which is also an event I might do, is 31:20, and I think there's only like 4 women who have hit that standard so far.
Oh wow. How have you ran the 10K professionally at all?
No. So that I was supposed to do it the last 2 seasons. My first season, I ended up getting a foot injury 3 days before my 10K debut was supposed to happen. So it didn't happen my first year, and then this past year it was supposed to happen literally like a week after COVID hit and everything got canceled. So then that didn't happen again. So it's supposed to have happened twice and it hasn't yet, but I think we're trying to set something up for February. So I'll finally have a chance to see. My coach thinks that the 10K is going to be my best event, which is kind of daunting because it's so many laps. And like the 5K seems long enough, but I think I had like some of my strengths are going to play really well in the 10K. So I think we have to give it a good shot at least.
What do you think your time for the 10K will be ballpark?
Well, what I will say is, like our coach told us there's this conversion metric for, I don't know if it works for men, maybe it does work for men, but it definitely works for women, where you double your 5K PR and then you add a minute. So if I were to double my 5K PR, just some quick math, that'd be 29:36, and then I'd add a minute to that, so 30:36 would be technically what I could run in a 10K. I definitely don't think that's possible right now, but in my fittest state, I think I could run ballpark 31 minutes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah.
And the Olympic trial time is 31:10, you said, or third?
The Olympic standard is 31:20.
31:20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Wow, that's right.
All right. Well, can you make both events? Can you do a 5K and 10K at the Olympics?
You can technically, but I definitely think the chances of making both of those teams is pretty tough. It's just so competitive.
Yeah.
But if you go for both of them, then you give yourself a better chance at least making one.
Yeah.
That's kind of the strategy.
Good strategy. I think you'll make it. You're still on the incline.
Yeah.
And you just had the injury, and like you ran all that time with like a hurt Achilles.
Yeah, like that's like running 14:48 still. Like you were running with like pain.
Injury.
Yeah, like I think you can break 14:48, which is nuts, by the way. Like that's like sprinting. Like are you basically like sprinting the whole thing?
Yeah, pretty much. My last mile was my fastest mile by far. So I almost thought of like the first 2 miles were like a tempo run, and then the third mile was like a sprint. I think my last mile was like 4:36, and so like the first 2 miles were maybe more like 4:50 pace. So it was like a big, pickup.
Wow.
But yeah. But thanks for the hype. Anytime I need hype, I'll just call you guys up.
DM us. Hey guys, like I'm feeling a little down. Like, can you guys just tell me how good I am at running? Yeah.
Send a video. Hyping you up.
Great.
Speaking of hype.
That was a good segue. That was so much better than I was thinking. Okay, you deserve that. That was good.
You're back on caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
I saw an Instagram post that you went off caffeine for a year.
Mm-hmm.
1, why'd you do that? 2, I mean, like, I like that. I'm just curious as to why you did that. And then
Yeah.
two, how do you like it now that you're back? And how was like
It's
that
so
first
good.
sip?
It's so good to be back. Well, I would drink decaf during my time off of caffeine, so like pretty much tastes the same, but it's not the same level of enjoyment.
No.
Obviously, because you're not getting the buzz. But I was extremely addicted to caffeine, like pretty much, the second half of high school, all through college, like got me through college. I couldn't have done college without caffeine. And then during my first year as a pro, we went to our first altitude camp in Colorado, and I was sleeping. I mean, it's so hard to sleep at altitude already. Just, it's, tough to sleep up there.
Yeah.
And, it's so important to be getting recovery up there. And I was sleeping like trash. And I just said I was going to do whatever it took to see if I could sleep better. So that included cutting out caffeine. Even though I was drinking caffeine at like 8 a.m, there is still like small amounts left in your system by nighttime.
Yeah.
I forget what the half-life is, but bottom line is it can still affect your sleep even if you're drinking it in the morning. So I was like, whatever it takes. And so I went through 2 days of like horrible withdrawal. I felt like I had the flu. I was like sleeping all day.
Wow. Like,
I mean, I was still training. Yeah, like I was still training, but it was just like, oh my gosh, I have the worst headache and I feel so exhausted.
Yeah.
I was like laid in bed all day after training for 2 days. And then I was fine after that. Like I actually really did fine off of caffeine for a while. And then this summer with the injury, I just was like, I need a little extra boost to get through this, like cross training and everything. And so it is so hard once you start. It's like, it's really hard to turn back. And I mean, it's amazing. I really love it. It's really nice to be back.
I can't relate. Like, I don't like the taste of coffee or caffeine.
Really?
I know. You take pre-workout. You don't like the taste of coffee.
Okay, pre-workout doesn't do anything though. Like, I take it, but I don't really feel a difference. If you want my genuine opinion, and I don't like caffeine. The way coffee tastes. Coffee.
You have double the amount of caffeine in a pre-workout.
No. Okay, no, it doesn't do anything though. But that doesn't do anything.
Anyways,
I think I'm just hyper.
My favorite, like I like iced coffee. In the winter, I'll do warm. But what's your favorite type of coffee?
I'm not picky as long as it's like espresso based and not actual coffee.
Yeah.
Like I don't like coffee made from coffee beans. It needs to be espresso. And usually a latte or a cappuccino, something with foamed milk. But then I also, I like iced as well. But yeah, just not like normal boring coffee.
What's your go-to coffee place, or do you make it yourself?
I usually make it myself. I have just an espresso machine to do little lattes and stuff. And then, I mean, I'm not like a, go-to. I don't have like a go-to place. I go to Starbucks a lot just because it's convenient, but it's not like I'm obsessed with Starbucks or anything.
Isn't there a lot of good coffee places is it Portland?
Yeah, Portland's pretty big on coffee. There's some really fun. Yeah, I kind of like just going to fun random local spots. There's a really cool spot called Dead Stock Coffee in Portland that's like a sneakerhead place, and they'll do different shoe designs in your latte art. So you could like walk in wearing a pair of Jordan 1s, and they'll like do a Jordan art on your, I mean, they have like a stencil for it. It's not like hand drawn. But yeah, you can like walk out with, your Nike art.
Makes for good Instagram pictures.
That would be
exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for this. It was awesome getting to know you, getting to know your career. I'm sure we could probably hit so much more.
A lot.
But we're gonna go into the speed round now.
Yes.
Which will kind of end off. Basically, just have like a list of questions here. We're gonna go off whatever comes to your mind first. You
Quick.
tell us.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got like 8 questions.
But the last one's more like you take your time to think, and we want a reason why for the last one.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm extremely nervous.
No, you definitely should not be nervous.
They're easy questions.
Like when you hear the questions, you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Okay, do you want to go first?
All right. Okay. So first one, favorite Nike product. You didn't hear me.
I thought we froze. I was like, shit.
See, it is hard. Literally everything. Like sneakers, all their lifestyle shoes.
Okay.
If you could travel to one place, where would it go? Like you only travel to one place.
Italy, like
Good one.
Rome. Yeah.
Good
That's
one.
a good one. Have you been there before?
No.
No. Okay.
It's good.
Yeah.
I've
Nice.
been. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we both
been.
same trip. Yeah.
Biggest fear.
Biggest fear is throwing up.
Ooh, that's a good answer.
Do you drink at all?
Yeah, but I like have
Yeah.
never it's kind of like a good limiting factor to drinking because I've never drank enough to throw up.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't thrown up in like 20 years since I was like 5.
Holy.
Like not even from like a flu, like a sickness.
No.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty lucky.
Very lucky. Okay, let's get off that one.
I think the fear has like prevented me from like getting to that point.
That's good though. That's pretty
super
smart.
random.
Great.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Favorite food?
Mac and cheese.
That's a good. I love mac and cheese.
It's probably been my favorite food like just my entire life.
So good.
Favorite sport besides track?
To watch or to play?
Both.
Very different. Very different.
I agree.
I like watching basketball and I like playing golf.
Okay. Wow.
Wait, hold up. Did you watch the game last night for basketball?
Yeah.
I'm so pissed.
Oh, you were in California. Are you going for LA or?
Oh no, I kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of anti-Lakers.
Okay. Are you Golden State fan?
Yeah.
Oh. No. It's okay. No, I'm in all honesty, I don't even like basketball. Like I don't like basketball, but
no, we went to the parade last year when Toronto won.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Sure that was fun.
That was pretty fun. For not being like a basketball fan, like I had fun like watching and celebrating. One social media app you could not live without.
Instagram.
It's classic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying though.
How did you have
It's
TikTok?
love-hate.
That's even more annoying.
I do have TikTok, but I don't make TikToks. Just
That's
like
a
to
common
watch
answer.
videos.
It's a common response.
Yeah.
Favorite song and artist? Or separate, could be separate.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like the song by the artist, like your favorite artist, favorite song.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll go with like favorite go-to hype song would be Heads Will Roll A-Track remix.
So good. Wow, what
like,
an
it's
answer.
just so classic. Like it just never lets you down.
Amazing.
I have a lot of favorite artists. But I'll give you guys Drake.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I don't even like Drake.
He's more of a Justin Bieber fan.
I'm a big JB fan. He's got good music.
I like Justin Bieber. I honestly like a ton of different music. Like I don't really have a favorite.
Okay.
I'm just kind of like going with some, Toronto vibes.
Okay. That's respect. I like that. That's a good answer.
All right. So last one. This one has like the why to it.
That's the best
take
question.
Your time here.
Yeah.
If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Yeah.
Great question.
It's the best one.
Yeah. It's like one of those questions that I think you always think of a better answer, like, hours later.
Yeah.
Shoot, why didn't I say that person? Should have given me more preparation time. But I mean, this is so, I mean, like so on brand of me to say, but I really would like to meet Phil Knight and think he'd be super interesting to have dinner with.
Okay.
I loved Shoe Dog, and I love the whole story of Nike. I think it'd be really interesting to talk to him.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good answer.
Great answer.
Fantastic answer. Okay. You hit those pretty well, to be honest. Those were very good answers. I liked all of them.
The throwing up one was like,
That threw me off.
That one did throw me off a little bit.
Mine's like deep water, like dark water, ocean. Like I hate that. It scares me. Or like drowning. Drowning would be mine.
That was scary.
So scary.
Probably drowning.
Drowning. It's just like you can't.
I don't like heights too, but like I would do like things that like most people scared of heights would do.
Yeah, so drowning.
But like
would be your
the
fear.
stomach, whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna end it off here. If you guys want to go follow Nessa Fraser on Instagram, at Nessa Fraser. Your full name's Vanessa though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, you guys might see her on TV next year. Hopefully at the Olympics or in 2024. But we're hoping for 2021 we'll be rooting you on.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll stay in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.